So right now I'm out on the Amalfi Coast in Positano, Italy, and just on my patio right now where I'm staying. But I was doing a lot of reflecting on this trip. So I've been here for about 4 or 5 days now, and tomorrow I'm flying to Spain where I'm hosting a client retreat. There's gonna be 29 of us in Marbella, Spain. I rented this massive villa for the week, and it's gonna be incredible. But I was doing some reflecting this morning, and as I was writing my weekly wins recap for all my clients, I noticed that at least 7 or 8 of them had record months this month, right? So it's the end of the month right now, and normally the summer's pretty slow, but 7 or 8 of them had record months, and there's probably a whole whack more behind the scenes that just haven't dropped it yet as well, or told me about it. But nonetheless, one thing that I wanted to make this video on is how they did it, how they made quantum leaps in their business after being stuck for so long, and how I've done the same thing, and everybody else that I know and some of the mentors that I've learned from that do 8 and 9 figures, they follow this exact same process. So in this video, I'm going to lay out how to make quantum leaps in your life and business so you can achieve incredible things. You can live a life that allows you to do stuff like this and travel and work and just have so much fun. And everybody that I've studied, everyone that I look up to, all my mentors, they might not talk about it. Some of them do, but I do notice a trend that they all do this. And if we want to get from level 1 to level 2, we're going to have to do things a little bit differently, right? And so one of my clients, Mario, he also like 3 or 4x his business in the program as well. But he sent me a book, and I've been reading it this week, called 10x is easier than 2x. And basically the premise is that it's easier to go big and it's easier to aim for 10x growth than it is 2x growth. And it's really just kind of reframed the way that I've been thinking about a lot of things. But it also has helped me realize a few key lessons that I've noticed in my life that I haven't really pieced together too well, right? Until it kind of put things into words. And so taking inspiration from that, but then also just doing a lot of reflecting on my own, it became very clear kind of the formula for leveling up. And a few weeks ago, about a month ago, I was on a private jet with Dan Martell, one of my mentors, and he's easily doing 9 figures and is just absolutely crushing it. And one of the things that he likes to say is that, one of the pieces of advice that he gave me is that you have to change up the things that you're doing year to year if you want to see consistent year-over-year growth. So you have to do things differently today than you were last year in order to achieve different results. If you just keep doing more of the same, then you're going to keep getting more of the same as well, right? And in 10x is easier than 2x, they basically say, like, if you understand the 80-20 principle, where usually 20% of the things that you do produce 80% of the results that you see, and then there's 80% of the things that you do produce only 20% of the results. And a lot of people just keep doing the 80%, the 80% things that just don't actually move the needle forward. Maybe at one point they did, right? And there's the old saying, what got you here won't get you there. And so over time, as you achieve a different level, to get to that next level, you have to focus on the 20% of things that are going to produce 80% of the results to get you there. And then when you get here, it's very interesting, because when you get to that next level, then those 20% things that you used to do actually shift, and they turn into 80% things that no longer work to produce the results to get to the next level. So a lot of people get stuck because they keep doing the things, the 20% of things that got them to that level that they're at right now, and they think if they just keep working harder and doing more and more and more of that stuff, it's going to get them to the next. But the thing is, they're thinking very linearly instead of exponentially, right? And the problem with that is, if you think linearly, where you just do more of the hard stuff that you've been doing, you're just going to grow like this, if you even grow at all. A lot of people just stay stuck. But to see extreme 10x growth, that's when you have to do things differently and add leverage to your day-to-day business, your day-to-day life. Because if you don't, then you're just going to be linear. But leverage is a multiplier. Leverage allows you to think bigger and do more things with less input. And I think that's what we're all trying to do, right? Like this month we're like my business, we're doing pretty good, right? We had a pretty solid month, and here I am for the last week of the month just traveling Europe and just like working like an hour a day, maybe, right? And it's been a ton of fun. Yesterday I was on a boat with my girlfriend, went and explored an island, and today we went down to the beach, and we're getting pizza tonight and eating it probably on the patio here, and it's incredible. And a payment just came through, and I had nothing to do with it, and it's amazing, right? But I wasn't doing this 12 months ago. 12 months ago, I was doing the 20% of the things that I was doing was trying to take as many sales calls as possible so I could make as many sales as possible, right? I just had a setter, and I was running ads, which is great, and my setter was booking calls, but I wouldn't have been able to get a payment roll through today if I don't have a sales rep, right? Because I would have had to take that call myself last year. And so now, like this year, I'm seeing different levels of growth because I'm doing different things. Now, my time is best focused on things that move the needle forward, which are much different than they were last year, right? And now, 12 months from today, I'm going to be doing things that are very different from what I'm doing now. And Dan, what he says is like, every 12 months, your calendar has to look 80% different. So you've got to completely change it up. And a lot of people are afraid to let go of that. And so I've been doing a lot of reflecting, and really what it comes down to, if you want to see a lot of growth, is that you have to let go of your old habits, routines, beliefs, and identity in order to make room for the new ones. Let's say you, like in your garage, you have like 3 parking spots for cars. Well, you can't go buy a new car unless you get rid of at least one of them that you have parked in there, because if you bring it home, then you have nowhere to put it. And a lot of people are afraid to let go of something to make room for the new things that are better. But that's exactly what you have to do. And that's why most people don't make that leap. That's why most people stay stuck. And so if we look back at my clients that have had record months this month, right, and it's actually pretty common. I think the table's a little shaky. It's a little windy or something. Maybe the tripod might not be too stable. So I'm just gonna hold my phone. But anyways, the reason that my clients all hit record months is because before working with me, they were doing things that no longer served them, and they were willing to shed that identity and shed those habits and routines that got them to where they're at. Right? Some of them came in doing 5, 10, 20, 40K a month. Now they're doing a hell of a lot more than that because they've been doing things much differently. They've been doing a lot of different things, right? Before they were doing organic marketing, now they're running ads. Before they were doing everything themselves, now they have a bit of a team, right? And before they were just like working really hard doing the things that were linear, and now they're doing things that are exponential because we've added leverage to their business. And if they were not willing to let go of what they were doing before that had worked and had got them to where they're at right now, then they wouldn't have been able to make room for the new things that have brought them this new level of success, right? And so a lot of people are afraid to let go because they don't have faith in the future. They don't have faith that something better is coming. And a lot of the times that something better is you. So a lot of the times you're afraid of the new you, and you're afraid of what you have to let go of to get to the next level. And a really good exercise for this is whip out a journal, sit down, and just kind of ask yourself, what am I afraid of right now? What am I afraid of letting go in order to get to the next level? And letting go is hard. It's not easy, and it's kind of scary a lot of the time because it's safe. It's comfortable, right? It's what we know. It's what we're used to. And that's why most people stay stuck, is because they crave the comfort and they want to stay comfortable, right? And a lot of times that's just our brains, it's just our egos playing tricks on us. Our ego wants to keep us safe. It doesn't want us to grow. And you have to understand that if you want to get to the next level, right? And so a lot of people are afraid of doing that because it is scary, it's uncomfortable, and it's not very fun, right? But another way to look at it, you can kind of just frame shift it and completely shift the frame upon itself. And if you see your identity and your beliefs and your habits and your actions and your thoughts right now, if you see all that stuff as a ball, like a big steel ball chained around your ankle that like the prisoners used to wear or something like that, then now instead of something that like serves you and like protects you and keep you safe, now you can see it as something that's actually keeping you stuck and holding you down. If you're trying to climb up a ladder, but you got this massive like ball, this steel ball chained around your ankle, it's gonna be pretty damn hard to climb. You're gonna have to let go of that, right? And so all the time you should be looking to see how you can chop that chain off of your ankle, right? How you can let go of that stuff holding you down and weighing you down and preventing you from climbing to that next rung, right? If I were to try and climb that mountain behind me, or that one, but I had a big ball and chain wrapped around my ankle, I had to drag it up the hill the whole time, that's gonna suck, right? And it would be very, very difficult to get to the top if I ever actually did. However, when I actually let go and I chop that sucker right off my ankle, then that's gonna leave room. I'm gonna feel light. That's gonna leave room for me to be able to pick up new things along the way, right? But I won't be able to if I keep it. And with that, like, so I've just got some notes here because I don't want to miss anything. But with that said, like, what is that new version of you? What does that new version have to do to get to where you want to get to? What things do you have to give up first in order to adopt new things, to do new things, to have the room and the capacity to be able to actually do things that are going to lead to different results, right? And a lot of times people are afraid to change because they're afraid to let go of what they're currently doing right now, right? And usually most of the time it's our vices, right? It's our personal habits, it's our personal routines, it's the things we escape to, right? So a lot of people it's alcohol, a lot of people it's video games, a lot of people it's you name it, right? A lot of people smoke weed. And a lot of people have these things that hold them back. Or it could literally just be like, keep doing business stuff that doesn't work, right? And like that could be it. We don't have to get so ethereal here. It could just be as simple as like, you just believe that like cold DMs are going to save your life, or like doing just relying on organic is going to actually help you scale one day, right? It's not. It's just unpredictable and inconsistent as hell. So you have to do things a little bit differently. But another really good concept too is like another thing I see a lot of, to be honest with you, is like people are afraid to fail. People are afraid to take action because they're afraid of what happens if it doesn't work, right? And again, that's just your ego and your identity trying to keep you safe. It would rather keep you safe than see you grow. And unfortunately, in this world, when you're safe, you're in your comfort zone, but the growth only comes from discomfort. So your ego sounds very tempting a lot of the time, and it might sound and mask things that make it seem like it's on your side and doing you favors, when in reality it's not, right? In reality, well, it might be if you're not trying to grow. But if you're watching this video and you're watching my channel, chances are you're probably pretty ready to grow, right? Like you don't want to stay where you're at right now. I know I don't. That's why I make these videos, because I wish I watched these many, many times before when I was much younger and more inexperienced. But what you got to understand is like the people that have the most success are the people that have failed the most, that have done the most reps, and usually most of those reps don't work out, right? The best leaders are the leaders that have made the most leadership mistakes and have had the hardest challenges when it comes to leadership. The ones where their entire teams left them, the ones where like they just had incredible people and then they lost them, right? And it's usually those people, like those mistakes hurt, and we have to learn from that, right? And the best media buyers, the best people that like run ads are the ones that have spent the most money on ads, and usually a lot of the money is just spent on testing and learning and figuring it out, and a lot of it goes wasted, right? And that's okay. But a lot of the best YouTubers have made the most YouTube videos for the longest amount of time. A lot of the best bodybuilders have lifted the most weights and the heaviest weights for a long period of time and been really consistent with it, right? And ate very clean, right? So a lot of the time it's like, yes, your ego, your mind, whatever you want to call it, keeps you safe and stuck because failing sucks and it's hard. But when you embrace it and you actually chase it and you're like, oh, this isn't actually that bad, I'm going to survive, then it becomes much better and much easier to bear, because then you can actually grow, right? And if you're not actually growing, then you're dying and you're just staying stuck and stagnant. And where's the fun in that, right? And when it comes to doing things, when it comes to taking action and doing the things that are going to grow you, and doing things you suck at and failing, one thing you have to understand is at first you want to just optimize for volume. You want to just optimize for reps. You want to just do as many things as you physically can and just throw as many things at the wall to see what sticks. And then after that, you build a really good foundation, and then you make it fancy, then you refine it, right? But if you just try to make it fancy and you try to be perfect, and trust me, I used to be a perfectionist, brutally, and that cost me years and years of not doing anything and not getting any results because I wouldn't do anything because I was afraid to fail, because it had to be perfect. All the conditions had to line up in order for it to work, right? But now look at me right here. I'm filming this on my iPhone. You're lucky I got a microphone today, right? I almost didn't even whip this out. I had it in my bag, and I was like, do I even need this? But it's a little windy, so I think the audio would be kind of shit. But you don't need fancy things. You don't need everything to be perfect. The conditions will never be perfect, right? It's a little windy right now. Oh no, am I gonna let that ruin the video? No. There's a lot of people that need to just get out of their own way and just do it no matter what. And over time you're gonna get better, right? Over time you're gonna make things fancy and refine them, and that's okay. You don't need to do that right now. What you need to do is just start and just do hundreds or thousands of reps, and then you're gonna start to get really good, and then you can make it fancy, you can make it pretty, you can tighten it up and refine it later. But you just need to start. And if you don't start, then you're never going to get to where you want to get to. You're never going to become who you need to become in order to get to those places and achieve the goals that you want. And chances are this is going to lead to a very miserable, resentful life. And I don't want that for anybody watching my videos. And funny enough, actually, yesterday, we went to an island called Capri here in Italy. And my girlfriend and I were just walking down the street. And I just hear, Jeremy? And one of the guys that watches my videos, and I was chatting with him on Instagram last year, he recognized me just walking by, and he's like, dude, I watch all your videos, he's like, this is crazy, and that's incredible to me. It's so cool. And Roberto, thanks for saying hi, man. But nonetheless, that stuff would never happen. I would never get to do that. I would never get to meet somebody halfway across the world on some random island in Italy. I would never get to be here right now. I would never get to fly to Marbella tomorrow, where there's going to be 29 of us, me and my clients and my team, for the next 8 days in a $30 million villa right on the beach with 2 pools and 3 houses on the property. A little mini fort. It's insane. I would never be able to get to do this stuff if I let those previous beliefs hold me back. If I kept doing the things that I was doing when I started, I also would not be here right now. So over time, you have to shed the identity, you have to shed your old habits and routines, and make room for the new ones. And you also, every single year, tactically, you have to look at your calendar and make sure you're doing things that are different, right? And that's going to require a different level of you. And it's going to require a different version of you. If I still took my sales calls, I would not be able to grow and focus on the business and do the things I need to do in order to fuel it to grow, because I just wouldn't have the time or the energy, right? So I had to find somebody who's exceptional and let him do that for me, because he loves the sales calls way more than I do. He's way better at them than I am. And I was actually on an onboarding call with a client last week, and he told me, he's like, dude, that call with Matthias, he's like, the sales call before I even bought. He's like, that one call alone was worth like more than what I actually ended up paying before I even joined the program, right? And so you like the people exist out there. Those exceptional people, they are there, right? Like my sales rep, Matthias, he's incredible, and he just cares so much about our clients and seeing them succeed, and like he feels like he's doing God's work when we sign somebody up because he sees all the results that we get, and it's just incredible, right? And I get to meet him tomorrow. It's going to be just amazing. But nonetheless, like if I was still doing my sales calls, I wouldn't have time to do my one-on-one calls with my clients. I wouldn't have time to coach my clients and actually produce the results that we get, right? I don't know anybody else in the space that gets the results like we do with as few clients as we do. Like, it's insane. And it's not by accident though, right? But in this time next year, I probably won't be able to do my one-on-one calls anymore with my clients. I won't be able to onboard my clients and like chat with them for 60 minutes and do stuff like that, especially at this price. Maybe I'll charge 3, 4, 5 times more for that than I do right now, because I've been told the pricing is very, very cheap for what it should be and for the results that we get, and I understand that. But right now I'm just kind of in the season of building goodwill and just serving, and that's okay, right? And kind of just refining. But 12 months from now, my calendar needs to look very different from how it does today, right? I need to stop doing a lot of things that I've been doing, right? That's why I hired an executive assistant. That's why I hired a full-time content guy. That's why I hired a sales rep, a setter, a client success manager to help me buy back my time and calendar space so I can actually do the things that move the needle forward, right? And on a tactical level, because I want you guys to understand kind of like where my head's at right now, is like the number one thing that's most important to me is actually serving my clients that pay me money and trust me with their businesses. Number 2 is building my personal brand and trying to just maximize my impact and my reach and producing valuable content and just being able to serve more people. And then like everything else kind of falls under that, right? So I'm trying to buy back my time right now by hiring people, by building proper systems and everything like that, so then I can actually focus on making better content and making the program as damn good as I can. Because those are the only 2 things that matter right now. And I have to keep those things simple, right? And if I was to do everything else, though, I wouldn't have time to do those things exceptionally well. And that's what we got to understand, right? So right now, my 20% are client results and content, growing the brand. So I have to like either eliminate, automate, or delegate everything else. That's the 80% that only produce the 20% of results, right? And like one of the hard things too is like a lot of times those things are hard to delegate and offload because you're good at them. Sometimes we even like them too. But I love serving my clients, helping them get results, and I love making videos and content and maximizing my impact, right? And whether somebody pays me or not, like I still want to be able to have a really, really big impact on them. And when I was driving to the airport like 5-6 days ago to fly out to Europe, I was literally stopped at a red light, and some guy next to me in a truck, he's like, yo, roll your window down. I was like, what's up? He's like, dude, you Jeremy? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, dude, I watch all your YouTube videos. Like, it's changed my life. And like, it's that kind of stuff. It's that kind of stuff that just hits, right? I used to not really give a shit about this, to be honest with you. I was like, nah, I just want to get rich, right? Fuck it. And and then after that, like, just throughout the journey, I've really like completely flipped 180. And I'm like, all right, we got the money down. We're good there, right? I can survive, and we're chilling in that regards. But now it's like it all just becomes numbers on a screen. It doesn't really matter anymore, right? And what matters is the vision that we have, the mission that my team and I are building, and the principles that we have in order to help us get there, right? And doing amazing things and building awesome, incredible things with incredible people, for incredible people as well, right? And it's just like, it makes it so easy to get up and work in the morning. It makes it so easy to want to record videos like this. It makes it so easy to just like, yeah, just keep making things better and keep refining and keep growing myself and my skill set, because the more valuable that I become, the better content I can make, a better program I can make as well. So a lot of my time now is spent on investing in myself and learning and growing and developing, right? And then obviously executing on that stuff, or finding somebody who can execute on that stuff and teaching them how to do it and showing them the way, right? But if I was still stuck in the trenches so much, then like I said, I wouldn't be able to do this, wouldn't be able to be here right now, but I also wouldn't be able to do that stuff, right? And I wouldn't be able to be like learning and growing and evolving so much if I was still just like, if I didn't have the energy of the headspace. And a lot of my 8 and 9 figure entrepreneurs, like the biggest thing with the biggest like factor for their success is that they've just never given up on personal development. They prioritize that every single day. And as a result, they've just become extremely more valuable humans. And especially in like the coaching space, the service business space, or building personal brands, people are attracted to more people. Like, people are more attracted to people that are more valuable, right? If I wasn't valuable, I wouldn't have 28 people flying out to meet me in person for a week in Marbella tomorrow. I wouldn't, right? I would have nearly, I think there's like 190 people in my Slack channel right now, which is nuts. We're gonna be kicking out a whole whack of them who are kind of overdue. Like, that I've been working with for like a year and a half, like signed like a 6-month contract way back then. They've just been in chilling and stuff like that. So we're gonna slim it down to make things easier on the client success side, and actually just work with people that are active right now. And again, that's another thing, right? We built a system for that now, whereas before we were just kind of winging it, and then it became a lot of fluff, and there became a lot of bloat in the community and stuff like that too, right? So we got to tighten things up and add a little bit of friction and keep things exclusive, and then also it saves us time and energy coaching people that don't pay us anymore. So it does not actually make sense at all, right? So, anyways, but yeah. Another thing, kind of with that too, where it's like just becoming more valuable. Just reading one of my notes right now. It's like what I wrote down yesterday is the extra effort to make things exceptional, like going the extra mile and like working on yourself and just like refining the things that you put out there. So like your content, your program, and everything else like that, right? Even when it's not like the extra effort is worth it every single time, even when it's not. So what I mean by that is like when you don't see the immediate tangible results, you will see them over the long term, because it just stacks the compound effect, and it just stacks and stacks and stacks and becomes extremely more valuable over time, because you keep getting better over time with every single rep, right? So it actually does help so much more, because like it is all about, as cliche as it sounds, it is all about like learning and growing and just like the process and the journey instead of the results and the outcome. And when you understand that, then it makes it very easy to just focus on the day-to-day and become present, because you are just focused on actually just being present and learning and growing and developing yourself. Whereas when you're living somewhere else and you're focused on other things, then like it's easy to just like forget about that stuff and just not do that, and just stop doing the things that are gonna get you to where you want to get to, right? So that said, you want to make that a daily practice. And kind of recapping the video, the 3 main points I wanted to make is your calendar has to look different, and you have to switch up things every single year, even every 6 months if you want to grow quicker, right? Your 20%, the things you're doing now that have the highest leverage, 12 months from now, they probably won't be the 20% anymore that are going to add the most leverage. You're going to have to find and identify a new set of 20% things that are going to produce even more leverage and more growth, right? Number 2 is basically the fact that like you have to let go in order to make room for things for better and new things to come into your life, right? And for you to become a better and new person in order to achieve better and new results. And then, of course, wrapping up with becoming like prioritizing your own growth and personal development, because the more you become valuable, then the more people value you. And if your goal is to make a lot of money, then the money is only a result and reflection of your value that you provide to the marketplace, right? And if your goal is to make a lot of impact, then you're only going to make impact the more valuable you are, right? And if your goal is to make both, then again, you just have to become more valuable yourself, right? And you're just going to naturally attract a lot of success and a lot of success, but like in finances and business and wealth, but also in fulfillment and happiness, relationships, and health, and everything else, right? You really want to live that the well-rounded, good life, and then that way the money becomes less relevant, and it controls you a lot less as well, because you're just so focused on the present, and you got those needs taken care of, and you're all set, you're all good, right? And yeah, it just becomes really sweet. So I'm gonna sign off right now, show you the view one last time. Like, that's insane. But yeah, moral of the story, you just want to become absolutely unstoppable. You want to become a force to be reckoned with, and as a result, you're going to achieve everything you want in life and live a very damn good life. So with that said, I'm heading out to go get some pizza and eat it on this patio, and it's going to be absolutely incredible. And then fly to Spain tomorrow and have a hell of a time for the next week. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, if you made it this far, I would love to meet you in person as well. So hopefully you can come to the next one. But until then, ciao for now.